He turned his face away the second our eyes met, like he'd seen a ghost, or like I was one. My heart stopped, my breath caught somewhere in my chest, and, before I even realized what I was doing, I whispered his name. He froze, but he didn't turn back. And that's when I knew something was terribly wrong. 6 months ago, I stood beside a grave, gripping a handful of dirt so tightly it cut into my palm. I watched them lower the casket, watched strangers offer condolences, watched my entire life disappear into the ground. My husband had been my world, steady, quiet, dependable. The kind of man who never raised his voice, never missed a dinner, never forgot the little things. Losing him didn't just break my heart, it erased my sense of reality. I wasn't the kind of woman who cried loudly. I carried my grief like a stone in my chest, heavy but silent. Every morning, I made 2 cups of tea before remembering I only needed one. Every night, I left the porch light on, out of habit, out of hope. I don't know which. People told me to move on, to accept it, to find peace. But how do you move on from someone who was your entire life? That day at the supermarket wasn't supposed to mean anything. Just another routine trip to fill an empty house. I remember reaching for a jar on the top shelf when I saw him, just a reflection at first, in the glass door of the freezer. The same posture. The same gray hair. The same coat I had folded away after the funeral. I turned slowly, my heart pounding so hard it made my ears ring. And there he was. Alive. Breathing. Standing just a few feet away. Everything inside me shattered and reassembled in the same second. I ran to him, tears already blurring my vision, my hands shaking as I reached out. I knew it, I said, my voice breaking. I knew something was wrong. You're alive, you're really. He stepped back. Confusion filled his face. Not recognition. Not guilt. Just confusion. I'm sorry, he said carefully. You must have mistaken me for someone else. But that wasn't the worst part. His voice, it was identical. Same tone. Same rhythm. Same everything. I felt the ground shift beneath me. No, I whispered. No, that's not possible. People were starting to stare. He looked uncomfortable, even nervous. Then he turned and walked away fast. And I did something I never thought I would do. I followed him. At first, I told myself it was madness. Grief playing tricks on me. But every step he took, every movement, every small habit, like adjusting his sleeve or tilting his head slightly when he walked, only confirmed what I already knew. This wasn't a stranger. This was him. He left the store without looking back, got into a dark car and drove off. I stood there for a moment, trembling, before rushing to my own car. My hands shook so badly I could barely fit the key into the ignition. I told myself to stop, to go home, to let it go. But something deep inside me refused. I followed him. The drive felt unreal, like I was trapped inside someone else's life. He didn't notice me, at least. I don't think he did. He drove across town, far from the neighborhood we had lived in for years. Eventually, he turned into a quiet street lined with houses I had never seen before. He parked in front of one of them. And then, he walked inside. I sat there, frozen. My heart screamed at me to leave. But my feet refused to move. Minutes passed. Then more. Finally, I got out of the car. Each step toward that house felt heavier than the last. My mind raced with possibilities, none of them making sense. Was he hiding? Was this some kind of cruel joke? Or was I losing my mind? I knocked on the door. No answer. I knocked again, louder this time. The door opened slowly. And there he stood. Up close, there was no doubt. Every line on his face, every detail, it was him. And yet, his eyes held no recognition. No warmth. Nothing. Why are you following me? He asked, his voice sharper now. My throat tightened. Because you're my husband. Silence. A long, suffocating silence. Then he laughed. Not kindly. Not softly. But coldly. I think you need to leave, he said. Now. But I didn't move. Tell me the truth, I demanded, my voice shaking. What is this? What did you do? For a split second, just a moment, I saw something change in his expression. Fear. And then it was gone. You're mistaken, he repeated. The door slammed shut. But that wasn't the end. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in my car across the street, watching the house. Watching the lights turn on and off. Watching shadows move behind the curtains. I needed answers. I deserved answers. Around midnight, something happened. A woman walked out of the house. She wasn't young, but younger than me. She looked comfortable there, like she belonged. Like that was her home. My chest tightened. Then he followed her out. They spoke quietly, too far for me to hear. And then he reached for her hand. The same hand that once held mine. The same hand I had kissed goodbye at a hospital bed. I felt something inside me break. But I didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, I did something even more dangerous. The next day, I went back. This time, I didn't knock. The door wasn't locked. And that was my first clue that something much bigger was happening. I stepped inside slowly, my heart racing. The house smelled different. Not like ours. Not like him. But there were small details, things that didn't belong to strangers. A photograph on the wall caught my attention. I walked closer. And my blood ran cold. It was him. Smiling. Standing beside that woman. But the date on the photo was from 3 years ago. 3 years. That's when everything started to unravel. I searched the house, piece by piece, until I found something that changed everything. A drawer. Locked. I forced it open. Inside were documents. IDs. Papers. Different names. Different addresses. But the same face. My hands trembled as I flipped through them. It wasn't just one identity. There were many. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. I turned slowly. He was standing there. This time, there was no confusion in his eyes. Only anger. "You shouldn't have done that," he said quietly. My voice came out as a whisper. "Who are you?" Silence filled the room. Then he stepped closer. "I'm someone who needed to disappear," he said. And I did. My heart pounded. "You faked your death." Yes. The word hit me harder than anything else. "But why?" I asked, tears finally spilling over. "Why would you do this to me?" His jaw tightened. "Because I had to," he said. "There are things you don't understand." "Then make me understand." I shouted. He hesitated. And then he told me. Not everything, but enough. Enough to know that the man I loved never truly existed. Enough to know that our entire life together was built on lies. And in that moment, I had a choice. I could stay silent and let him disappear again. Or I could destroy everything he had built. My voice shook as I made the hardest decision of my life. "I'm going to the police." His expression hardened. "You don't know what you're getting into." "Maybe not," I said. "But I know what you did to me." For a second, I thought he might stop me. But he didn't. He just stood there, watching. And as I walked out of that house, I realized something. I wasn't the same woman who had stood by that grave 6 months ago. I wasn't broken anymore. I was awake. The investigation that followed uncovered things I never could have imagined. Crimes. Lies. Entire lives built and abandoned. The man I thought I knew had been running from something for years, maybe his entire life. He was arrested. The truth came out. And with it, the final piece of my grief. I didn't lose my husband 6 months ago. I lost him the day I realized he was never real. Now, when I make tea in the morning, I only make 1 cup. Not because I'm lonely, but because I finally understand. Some people don't leave you when they die. They leave you long before that. And sometimes, the real heartbreak isn't losing them. It's discovering they were never truly yours to begin with.